Hey, it's Lori with Nelson Farms, and today we're picking muscadines and scumpernogs because we're gonna make some jelly. We are gonna make some muscadine jelly, and these are so good. I'm so excited about this. Step 1, wash your fruit really good. I like to use Thieves Fruit and Veggie Wash. You wanna let it soak for a few minutes, pull out any stems, and then rinse it off good. Do not skip that washing step because look at that water. Even though these don't have pesticides on them, there's still a lot of dirt and grime there, so be sure to wash your muscadines good. Now that your muscadines are good and clean, you want to pour them in a big pot. So I have this big one. We're gonna pour those right in. And then we wanna cover them with water. So at least 2 cups, more if necessary. Pull out any stems if you missed any before. Took about 3, maybe 3.5 cups of water to cover my muscadines. Before we actually cook the muscadines, I want to wash my jars and get them ready so that after these are ready to go, like we can just move forward. So what I do to wash my jars, I'm gonna wash like probably 10 of them. I'm going to just put a couple of squirts of a detergent in my sink. I just have it in a big bowl. And I'm gonna wash them in really hot water. And after I wash them all, I'm gonna put them in my steam canner just because I love that big steam canner with water in it and let them stay really hot until we need them. Jars in here. They're going to be good and sterile when we need them. They're clean. They're just going to stay really hot and sterile. And then here we've got the muscadines. So we're going to turn this on medium high. And as this gets hot, we're going to smash down with this little tool. You can also use a potato smasher and just get all the juice out of the muscadines that we can. So we're going to work on that. So as the liquid is heating up, you're gonna see that they're gonna break open really easy. You wanna do this for about 15 minutes. It's gonna probably come to boil, so when it comes to boil, just turn it down to simmer and let it stay hot, but you don't want it to remain boiling at this point. So keep doing this, turn it down to simmer, 15 minutes. I'm going to show you the color. You'll see that it's going to start turning that purple muscadine color. Looking good. So we're actually going to be steam canning these to can them, not water bath, steam canning. So I'm going to get the steam canner ready while that's just finishing up boiling. And all you have to do to get the steam canner ready is just fill it with water up to the platform here. That's all we're gonna do, and set it on the stove and let it start warming up. That's it, super easy. After the 15 minutes of smashing and cooking, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pour that mixture and drain it, okay? So I'm not gonna do it all at one time. I'm gonna do some, and then I'm gonna just squish down so we can get all the juice out of there. Now listen, if you don't want any little bits of anything in your jelly, then you might wanna also put maybe like a little cheesecloth over this. I don't really care if there are little bits, so I'm just gonna go with this. And I do a little bit at a time like this just so that I can get as much liquid as I can. Some people will even like leave this sitting for like long extended periods of time. I'm not gonna do that because I have plenty and I just don't wanna leave it sitting. I wanna get this done. So I'm just gonna smash it down get all the liquid out that I can, and then we're gonna discard all that. Okay, I've got all my juice off. It looks really good. And we're gonna need, for this recipe, we're gonna need 5 cups of this juice. So I'm just gonna pour it and put it back in this big pot because we still gotta add some more stuff to it. We're gonna add some sugar and some pectin. So that was 2 cups. Here's 2 more. And if you don't have quite enough, you can go back to that pulp and try to strain some more, but I'm gonna have plenty. That was 4. Now I just need 1 more. Okay, so that's my 5 cups. And again, if you want jelly with like no particles, like perfectly like transparent, then you might want to do another strain. I'm not gonna do another strain, I don't care. This is our 5 cups of the juice, and we're gonna turn that back on a medium high. While that's getting warm, you're going to need 1 box of pectin, and you're gonna need 6 cups of sugar. So go ahead and get that ready. Okay, so this is boiling. Now that it's boiling, I'm gonna turn it down to simmer. Let it sit just a few minutes, and then I'm gonna add my pectin. So I'm gonna turn this down and get that pectin ready. Okay, this is simmering now, so we're gonna add the pectin in, stir it really good, make sure it's dissolved, make sure you get all of it out of that package. And we're gonna let that come back to a boil. Then we're gonna add the sugar, and it is a lot of sugar. And I know that you're probably not gonna like it, it's not healthy, but y'all, jelly's just got a lot of sugar, and it's not healthy. Okay, we're gonna let this get to boiling again, then we're gonna bring that sugar over. Okay, we are at a rolling boil. I'm gonna add the sugar, and we're gonna stir it really good. It's this much sugar, it's a lot. I know that's so unhealthy, but it's gonna be so good. So we're gonna bring this back up to a boil and let it be at a rolling boil for about a minute, like at least a good minute. All that sugar is gonna dissolve. Now, one thing you'll see is that most times you're gonna start to see that film come up on the jelly, or on this as it's starting to jelly. And if you want to, you can add just a little bit of butter to prevent that film. If you don't add the butter, you can just kind of manually pull that film off. You can do it either way. I'm probably gonna add just a tiny bit of butter. So this is the rolling boil. It is really rolling. And that's why I use this big, huge pot, because you want it to do this for a minute. Let it do this for a full minute. And you want to stir the whole time. That's a minute, so I've turned it down. It's gonna settle down now, and we'll see about adding just that little bit of butter. I don't want to stop stirring to get the butter yet. So I had to put my phone down. There's the butter. I just threw just a little bit of butter in there, but I had to put my phone down because it was just too much. Now, looks good. Okay, we are actually ready to can these now. So I have to get my canning stuff ready. Now we're ready to start canning. So really everything's ready. I've just got to move back and forth a bit. So just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm gonna get a jar put the funnel on it, add the jelly, get the lid, put the lid on, and then put it in the steam canner. That's gonna be the order of things. Hey, let's get this jelly in the jars. You need to work pretty quickly at this point. Lid, bands. So you want to leave a 1/4 cup of headspace, not a 1/4 cup, a 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch headspace, you know what I mean. And then make sure you clean off your rim really good. That looks good. You always want to clean off, because if you don't, then you might not have a good seal, and that's just a waste. So clean off good. Pop that top right on. Screw the lid on. Fingertip tight, and put it right in that steam bath, okay? We'll do one more while y'all are with me, while you're watching. So these jars are really hot, which is the way you want it. The lids are hot. It's a pretty fast moving process once you get to this point. I mean, the color of this really is perfect. See, that's already jellying up a little bit. So clean that off really good. Lay that top on. Screw that on fingertip tight. Set it in your canner. So all of the jellies are in there. So all we're gonna do now is, this really should not be boiling, so I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. And then I'm gonna put my lid on. So remember, with the lid, you have to look at your zone, know which zone you are. I'm that dark green, I'm this back zone. So I want the level to be in the dark green. That's my goal. So we're gonna set that on. We're gonna watch this. When it gets over in that green, that's when we're gonna set our timer, and we're gonna turn the heat down so that the heat is not so intense. Okay, so the needle is in that dark green area, which I know is my area. So now I start my timer for 10 minutes and I turn this down. So I'm on triple between medium and low. So I'm gonna go to double low. And that's probably gonna keep me where I need to be. And I'm gonna start that timer for 10 minutes. For that 10 minutes, you just want to keep an eye on it and make sure that your needle stays in that green area or your zone's area. 10 minutes is up. You want to take the lid off the steam canner. Make sure you've turned the heat off. And when you take this off, be really careful because there's so much steam. You want to pull this away from you, like this. And there they are. So this one I threw in there, but this was not even a new lid. So I'm gonna put this one in the fridge and just go ahead and eat it. But now that everything's finished, we're gonna take them off one by one and set them somewhere that they won't be bothered. So here they are. Again, after they're over here, you want to let them sit for 24 hours before you start labeling them or moving them. They look really good. And this little one we're going to put in the fridge and go ahead and eat it. And that's it. We have our muscadine jelly. If you guys have questions, let me know. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.